Finally getting around to stream again, and today we will be tuning another magic deck. And the deck that we'll be tuning is Galea, Kindler of Hope. So the order set, I'm just looking for my first foray into Voltron and Bond. Obviously, we'll be winning through combat damage, but I'm open to pretty much any interpretation of it if it makes the deck more powerful. I'd consider my pot to be Fringe EDH, so basically an EDH format that borders on CEDH but tries more obscure strategies, not the most optimized strategies. And he has no budget and wants his deck optimized as far as possible. So let's first get his deck over here. Hi, I'm Brady P. Yes, it's been quite a while. I was quite busy with actually preparing Dungeons and Dragons, learning the Dungeons and Dragons rules for our Dungeons and Dragons campaign, and also we started World of Warcraft, and this both took a lot of time. Um, and yeah, I hope I have some more time in this future to deal with Magic again. Also, we started to play in real life, as you can see behind me. I haven't gotten around to stream that because the setup isn't ready yet. But building some real life Magic decks and playing also took some time. So now why am I locked out of Architect? There we are. Okay, so let's create a new deck. But whatever. And I didn't select the format, so we'll probably create another deck. But whatever V2. So we have an EDH deck, and let's import it. I had combos in my decks that I didn't like. Basically, I'm trying to tune Tyam as much as possible at the moment without it getting to combo off every time it gets to turn 3 or 4, which is really hard, surprisingly hard. Basically, I tried to exclude combos, but every time I play the deck, I just realize, oh, this is a combo, that's a combo, there's a combo, here's a combo, and so on and so forth. That's a bit annoying. I also made my girlfriend cry with the Joyra deck, which was quite a surprise to me, I have to admit. But she had a really, really good sliver hand when I dropped Emrakul on turn 3. So, yes, we are also playing basically without a fun list. And yeah, tuning an Absent deck with exclusion to combo is really freaking hard, especially one that's graveyard based and that can recur stuff from the graveyard at each turn. But enough said about my decks. So, as I said, we will be turning Galea, Kindler of Hope. This is one of the new Dungeons and Dragons commanders. It's an Elf Knight, which is mostly irrelevant. Has Vigilance, which is nice-ish. 4 mana, green, white, blue. You may look at a top card of your library at any time. You may cast an aura and equipment. You may cast aura and equipment spells from the top of your library. When you cast an equipment spell this way, it gains when this equipment enters the battlefield, attach it to target creature you control. So basically, what we are looking at is top of the library manipulation. We also mostly fetches, top, and scroll rack, and maybe some top of the library tutors. We are looking at equipments that are cheap to cast and expensive to equip because we can get around the equipment cost with Galea. We're looking for super powerful enchantments. We are also looking for some ramp because every time you need to equip an equipment manually, it's freaking expensive. Maybe some recursion, and yeah, let's first see what he did here. Okay, so let's first have a look at the land count. 31 is a bit low for my liking. He is already running fetch lands, which is quite promising. Okay, so let's first check. He has 1 fetch land, 2 fetch lands, 3 fetch lands, 4 fetch lands, 5 fetch lands. So he's probably running all the fetch lands he can, which is totally fine in this deck because they allow you to rearrange the top of your library, and then you can cast more equipments and more enchantments from it. So fetch lands are really great if you can do something from the top of your library. So he's also running Serra Sanctum, so I guess no budget wasn't a hoax. He also has a tropical. Okay, he has one of the dual. Oh no, he has all of the dual lands in here. Okay. What he's missing though is the fetch land that allows him to fetch basic lands, and He's running one of each basic, so yeah, probably that. He's also missing all of the utility lands. So 16 cards in his deck are without any mana, without any color requirements. And okay, 15. Yeah. Holy Avenger actually has a color requirement. And he's not running any utility lands. So the first thing that I would look to add is Rogue's Passage. Rogue's Passage. Right, there it is. So this is a land that for 4 mana, target creature can't be blocked this turn. Well, it's just great because then you have an unblockable creature. And if you are looking to win with commander damage anyways, you will probably want to add this one. Okay, other than that, the lands look mostly fine. We will probably cut some for another fetch land and some more basic lands. But we'll look at this later. So the lands for now look good. Now we have creatures. We have an Arbor Elf. We have a Birds of Paradise, and we have a Bloom Tender. So okay, let's go for Mana Dudes first. Mana Dudes. They're called not Mana Dudes, right? They're called something else. What are they called? Okay, Mana Dogs, right? Mana Dogs, not dudes. Thank you. Thanks a lot. So we have the Noble Hierarch, we have the Llanowar Elves, we have the Fintorn Elder, we have the Elvish Mystics, and we have the Birds of Paradise and the Arbor Elf. So, what is immediately missing here is Ever Since Pilgrim. So we have no card in the entire deck that has a double green cost from what I can see right now. And there's no reason not to run Ever Since Pilgrim above something like, let's say, Fintorn Elves or Llanowar Elves, because it's a green mana dog that taps for white, and this could potentially allow you to bring out your commander a turn early. And so we'll add this one. Ever Since Pilgrim. There he is. There's no reason not to play this dude over any of the other mana dogs. Okay, what else do we have? We also have Bruna. Whenever Bruna, Light of Alabaster, attacks or blocks, actually I play her as a commander, she can get all of the enchantments on the battlefield on your hand and on your in your graveyard. In your graveyard or on all graveyards. Uh, the battlefield in your graveyard. So basically she gets all of the auras. Which is nice in an aura focus deck, but we will have to see how powerful the auras here are. And so this one is aura support, because while the commander supports auras, you need enough auras for her to be good. Now we have the Stoneforge Mystic, which is an equipment tutor, super powerful. Basically, for 2 you play her, and then she fetches an equipment from your deck. And for 2 and tap, you can just put an equipment card from your hand onto the battlefield. We also have the Ranger Captain of Ears. This one searches your library for a creature with CMC 1 or less, and you can sacrifice him to prevent your opponents from casting non-creature spells. I guess that's why he's in here. Okay, so let's put him to counter spells, because I didn't see any creature CMC 1 or less. What creatures do we have with CMC 1 or less? We have the Mana Dogs, and we have the Esper Sentinel. So while searching for them is nice, I don't reckon a tutor for them is worth a card. Okay, we have the Pure Steel Paladin. Whenever an equipment enters the battlefield, you may draw a card, and if you have 3 or more artifacts, you can equip your equipments for 0. So this one is just equipment control, equipment bonus. We have the Leonin Citari, who says that you can equip stuff as a flash ability. And this is quite nice for the Swiftfoot boots, and also in theory the other boots that he's not playing, because they give Shroud. Because yeah, this allows you basically for 1 to counter any spell that targets a creature you control, since you can just re-equip the Swiftfoot boots at instant speed. Now, there is an argument to be made about Lightning Greaves. While they can protect you, especially in combination with Leonin Skitari, they actually give your creature Shroud. And since equipment, okay, this one has not the equipment text. Does any card here has the equipment text? No. Oh yeah, here. But since no, it's also not the equipment text. Okay, there's no equipment with the actual text in here. But since equipment targets, I can show the actual text here. But an equip ability basically needs to target your creature, and so if you give your creature shroud, you cannot target it yourself, so you cannot equip it, which sucks because then you also can't attach any auras to it and so on. Now, this one is an equipment. What do we have here? This one just generates 3 mana, and it is basically a 3/3 for 3 that generates 3 mana. I think this one is a cut. Don't think this one is good enough. Now we have the Esper Sentinel, a great card for equipment and aura decks, anything that really wants to pump their creatures. This is just draw. Basically, whenever an opponent plays a spell, non-creature spell, or not whenever, but the first one each turn, you can draw a card unless they pay X, where X is his power. And if you equip him, your opponents will need to pay. Cutty Bree of Mitral Hall is also one of the newer creatures. First strike and reach. Whenever she attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on her. I just forgot um, that they just say it to all cards, even if they are clearly male or female. On it for each equipment attached to it. So she also wants to have a lot of equipments attached to her. And for 1 mana and remove all +1/+1 counters, she deals damage to something. While this sounds nice and could be okay-ish removal, I don't really see this as. This can maybe be cut. We'll look at this later. Okay, now let's look at the artifacts next. So we have ramp artifacts. They are always there. Ramp. Um, we have the Champion's Helm. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has hexproof as long as it's legendary. So this one is protection equipment. Protec. Now next off we have Commander's Plate. Again, it makes your creature +3/+3 and it has protection from each color that's not in your commander's color identity. So this is okay. Allows your commander to just go through red and black creatures, which might sometimes be relevant. Um, I don't. I would rather like this on a commander with less colors, but it's fine. Now, next up, we have the Sword of Sinew and Steel. Again, this one is protection from black and red. If you deal damage to a player, you can destroy 1 target permanent and 1 target artifact. Note that these cards do not need to be from the same player. We have the Jita, which is just ridiculously strong, especially if you can get double strike somehow. Pump equipment. Next up, we have the Sword of Heart and Home. Now, here's a critical card, because Sword of Heart and Home gives the creature protection from green and white. Also, whenever the creature deals damage to a player, you may exile up to 1 creature you own, which seems to be irrelevant in this deck. Maybe outside from the Stone for Mystic that you might flicker. And you can also search your library for basic land and put that onto the battlefield. The real issue here is that it gives protection from green and white. And depending on what auras you'll be playing, protecting from green and white can lead to the auras falling off. But as I just realized, he is playing 2 auras. Okay, so this is probably fine. Then again, if he's only playing 2 auras, Bruna will probably go. Next, those Sword of Fire and Ice, protection from red and blue. Whenever deals damage, deal 2 damage and draw a card. Also another sword. Sword of Feast and Famine, always great protection from black and green. And when the equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, that player discards a card and you untap all lands you control. So after that, you have a lot of mana for your other lands. Now we had protection equipment somewhere, right? Wrong. Rot Egg already exists. Okay, so I have protection equipment somewhere. There. Okay. Now next up we have the Sol Ring, which is obviously a mana rock. We have Sensei's Divining Top, which is top deck manipulation. We have the Scroll Rack, which is also top deck manipulation, which is fine. We have another Mana Rock. Now, next up, we have the Holy Avenger. And this is already critical with the Protection White, because Protection White would also... if the aura is already on the creature and it gains protection, does the aura fall off? Or does it any... yes, the aura falls off. There's actually an aura. Let me fetch it. There's actually an aura that specifically mentions that its effect does not cause auras from falling off. Let me just have a look at my Bruna deck. Unless that rule was changed at some point. I will look this one up, but I'm 99% sure the aura should fall off. Protection creatures. Should here be in here somewhere. Give me a second. 3 dreams. Spectral Ward, yes. Spectral Ward. Let me just pull up the card. I haven't had a Spectral Ward MTG. So, Spectral Ward is an aura. It says enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from all colors. This effect doesn't remove auras. So, yeah. Other than that, if you gain protection from something, then the aura will be unattached. And also, sync equipments fall off. Protection equipment fall off. Let me just Google this. MTG. Volcanic Fallout. Protection red. A permanent with protection can be equipped by an equipment that have stated ability of fortified by fortifications of status. Okay, this should be well, I guess this one is translated badly. But yeah, this should fall off as a state-based action. So if your commander gets protection white, the Holy Avenger will fall off as a state-based action. Now, Holy Avenger grants a creature double strike. And whenever a equipped creature deals combat damage, you may put an aura card from your hand onto the battlefield attached to it. Which means the second strike actually gets the benefit of the aura. But at the moment, we have two auras. Yeah, I might rather... Okay, let's put this one to aura support. We look at this one later. There's another equipment that grants double strike and maybe even some stuff that you don't need to equip. I would include Finest Hour and Rafik in here. We'll look at those cards later. And yeah. Basically, I'm not really sure if I want to put Holy Avenger in here. I also ordered it for my Derivi deck because I totally did not think about the protection white, and I realized it is a huge problem. So in my Derivi deck, I was constantly protected from my own effects that I wanted to target my creatures with. So Hammer of Nazam. Whenever Hammer of Nazam or another equipment enters the battlefield under your control, you may attach that equipment to target creature you control. So again, this one makes the equipment better. Do I have equipment support somewhere? There's equipment support. Dark Steel Plate is another indestructible effect that does not help you to win the game, so this one is probably going to go. Now, the equipments that I'm missing here, because our commander is negating the equipment costs of equipment with this ability. And we also have several other cards that are negating the equipment costs, is Colossal Hammer. Here, Colossus Hammer. It's just 1 mana, and its equipped creature gets +10/+10 and has flying. And loses flying, sorry. But it has equip 8, so it's... So it's very expensive to actually equip it, but since your commander lets you cheat on the equip cost, and we even have ways to get the equipment back onto our library if we have it in our hand, and even if we need to play it, we still have several other cards that allow us to equip it for free. This one just goes in. And there's the second one, that's the It has just been printed with this commander actually, Belt of Giant Strengths, which is basically the same. Not really, no. Equipped creature has base toughness and power 10/10, so this is only +6/+6. But therefore it also gets cheaper to equip it. But have one of those with double strike, and you are basically one-hitting your enemies. So we will add this one. Do I have already an add section here? Yeah, there's an add section. Now, the other things that I want to add, let's do it right now. Let's click save, because otherwise I will find me in the S again if I delete it. The other things that I want to add is Rafik. Basically, Rafik is an equipment that says you don't need to equip me. So let's have a look at Rafik of the many. Exalted, so whenever a creature you control it attacks alone, the creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, it also gains double strike. So if you attack with your commander, which is what you want to do in this deck, your commander will be a 5/5 and has double strike. So if you have one of these swords equipped, which give the commander +2/+2, your commander is already a 7/7. And this leads to your commander two hitting, because if you have because if you have 7, you double strike, you deal 14 damage, and yeah, then you just need 7 more damage on the enemy to actually kill him. So he can also easily turn your commander into a one-hitter, obviously, if you get your commander to 11 or more strengths, which is super easy with the Jita. So in case you don't know the Jita, it's an equipment. You equip it for 2, you cast it for 2. It's really broken, especially if you have double strike. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage, note that's not to a player, but just deals combat damage. Put 2 charge counters onto Umijava's Jita. So remove a charge counter from the Jita, choose 1. Equipped creature gets +2/+2, or you gain 2 life, or target creature gets -1/-1. So what you usually do is have this on a creature with double strike. Creature attacks, first strike damage, 2 counters are put onto the Jita. Now you can take those 2 counters off to give the creature +4/+4 to be lethal with the second strike damage, or the regular damage. Or if you attacked once with a double striking creature that has the Jita on it, afterwards there are 4 counters on it, because just remember, each time the creature deals damage, you get 2 counters. So you can give a creature +8/+8 on the next turn with double strike. So this is 16 damage that you get just from this one equipment if you have double strike. And if you have 16 damage just from the equipment, your commander only needs 3 damage to actually kill a person that hasn't taken a single point of commander damage so far. So to sum it up, that's why you want double strike. Another thing that you probably want is Finest Hour. Finest Hour is very expensive. It's probably the most expensive card in this deck then. Mana-wise, not monetary-wise, as you can see. It's an enchantment for 5 mana. And whenever a creature you control attacks alone, so again the Exalted thing, but that shouldn't be an issue in this deck. If it's the first combat phase of the turn, you untap that creature, and after that phase, you have an additional combat phase. So you have 2 combat phases, which actually allows you to kill 2 players in one turn. And additional combat phases without having red in your deck is something that's really, really rare. So we also want to add this. Finest Hour. Now another, okay, let's go on first. Yeah, we have Austere Command, which is a fine board wipe. I think it's too expensive. I think we will replace this one with a Cyclonic Rift or something. We have a Gitaxian Probe, which I guess is. No, we're not playing Storm. I guess you can play it because it's basically free, but I think this is a good contestant to be cut. We also have Ponder, which, yes, you can arrange, but I would rather just play Brainstorm in this deck. Brainstorm has so much more. Okay, he already is playing Brainstorm. I mean, Ponder, maybe. Let's put it in for the moment. Okay, open the armory. This is not a tutor. And he is playing Enlightened Tutor. Okay, so open the armory and Steel Shaper's Gift is just fetching him equipments. Fine. Okay, we have Replenish. This just returns all enchantments from your graveyard to the battlefield. Okay, so let's look at enchantments first because they are clearly getting. I think he's supporting his enchantments too much for what little enchantments he's having. Okay, so first of all, we have all that glitter. So this one is a pump enchantment. Next up, we have the Aura of Silence, which is a great stacks and removal enchantment. I love this enchantment. Actually, I'm playing this one in the Tayam deck that I'm just tuning for myself at the moment. And it's great there. We have Dueling Grounds, where just one creature may attack each turn. I think you would rather play some. Put this one to draw, this one to ramp. Ramp. Mana Dude. Yeah, of course. Let's call it a Mana Dude. We have the Sylvan Library, which is great top deck manipulation. Top deck manipulation. I already have a category with this name. Okay. So this is going here. Ponder is also going there. Brainstorm is also going there. Sterling Grove, again, this one is an enchantment tutor and is protecting your enchantments. I don't really see that many enchantments here. No, Sphere of Safety is a great thing. Creatures can't attack you or planeswalker you control unless their controller plays X for each of those creatures, where X is number of enchantments you control. This is a great enchantment support. Smothering Tide is great ramp. We want this in here. Cigada's 8 is great equipment. Equipment 8, so you may cast auras and equipment spells as though they had flash. And whenever an equipment enters the battlefield under your control, you may attach it to target creature you control. So again, this is getting around the cost of the 10/10 equipments. We have the Privileged Position, which is very good in an aura focus deck because your opponents cannot snipe your auras anymore. But we have 2 auras here, and yes, we have some enchantments, but they are not necessarily the enchantments that an opponent would snipe, but rather would board wipe. And if they board wipe, forget what I just said. It was all my permanents. Yeah, this one is yes. Just forget what I said. All your permanents have hexproof. Just forget what I said. This one is great. So this one is protection. Even I remember cards wrong sometimes. Next off, Miri's Guile. During your upkeep, you may look at the top 3 cards of your library, put them back in any order. So again, this is top deck manipulation for the commander. I quite like it. Then we have more mana ramp. Mantle of the Ancients. So this is actually an aura. One of the 2 auras in the deck. When Mantle of the Ancient enters the battlefield, return any number of target creatures. Bullshit. Of target auras and or equipments from your graveyard to the battlefield attached to the enchanted creature. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1. Okay, so again, he's mainly playing the equipment theme at the moment, which is why Bruna is just going out. She's not worth it for just the equipment theme. Okay, so this one is protection from self. Let's just put this one to aura support. What else do we have? We have sorceries, replenish. So this one brings back all enchantments. We don't actually play that many enchantments, so this one is going to be cut. Next up, we have Savor the Moment. Take an extra turn after this one. Skip the untap step of that turn. Okay, so this one is basically an additional combo phase in blue. Pseudo Time Walk. Not sure I wouldn't rather play a regular Time Warpish spell, but I mean, with all the top deck manipulation he has going on, he should be able to play the Miracle Time Walk. Miracle MTG. This should be way better. Oh, let me just. Where do we have it here? So Temporal Mastery, 5 mana and 2 additional 2 blues. Take an extra turn after this one. Exile Temporal Mastery, but it also has Miracle 1 and a blue. So if you play it for this is basically a time walk. So we will put in Temporal Mastery here. since we have so many options to get it back onto the top of our deck. So we can use the scroll whack. Okay, well, to get it back onto the top of our deck, we mainly have the scroll whack, to be honest. But I think it's still worth it with all the library manipulation we have going on to use this. Also, we know if it's on the top of our deck because we may look at the top of our library while our opponents cannot, so they don't know what's coming. In general, I think we are not playing enough miracles here. But let's get to that later. Three Dreams searches for three different aura cards. We are only playing two aura cards in the deck, so this one will need to go for the moment. Windfall is just draw, which is, yeah, I guess you can play it. Doesn't have much synergy with the deck since we cannot really get stuff back from the graveyard. Mm, I think this one is in here from an earlier iteration of the deck, so we will probably also cut this one. Time Twister is basically an additional combat phase, which no, Time Twister. Each player shuffles his or her hand and graveyard into the library, then draws 7 cards. I mean, I guess this could be good if your opponents are playing mill, but if your opponents are playing mill, why not just put an Eldrazi Titan into your deck? Don't really see. I mean, wheels in general are great, but equipment decks tend to have more cards in hand than other decks because the equipments need to have their equipment costs paid. So you're slower than the other players usually, especially in a competitive environment. So you would probably refill other people's hand more than you would refill your own. So let's look for other draw spells here. Now, what instant spells we have? We have Beast Within, basic. A basic removal spell. Jovin's Veto, which is a basic counter spell. Okay, now we have Fierce Guardianship, Mana Drain, especially Mana Drain is great in equipment decks. Mystical Tutor, which is, again, how is he playing Mystical Tutor and he's not playing any miracles? It boggles my mind. It really does. He plays so many Miracle Enablers, but no miracles. And in case you don't know Miracle, basically, Miracle is the if this one is the first card drawn in each of your turns, you may cast for its miracle cost, which is usually quite cheap. Okay, so this one is just put into the sorcery. Okay, we have Defrag's Protection, which is great protection. Let's just put in other protection section. Worldly Tutor. Now, which creature would you possibly want to get with a Worldly Tutor? I mean, I get other tutors. You want to have access to a board wipe or to something else when you need it, but he's not playing any relevant creatures outside of his commander. I mean, he's playing a ton of mana dogs. He's playing some equipment support, but none of the equipment support creatures. It's okay. So for none of these creatures, you really want to run a tutor. So we will cut a tutor. Okay, we have Swords to Plowshares, great removal. Silence. Own. Yeah, I mean, you can sort of skip the turn of one opponent, but I guess if he's playing against a lot of Storm or combos, that's fine, but I'm not a fan. Put target card from the graveyard on top of your library. Now, I like that one because, again, it enables you, if you were milled, to play your miracles. Okay, and it's at instant speed. Let me just Phyrexian green top graveyard. Let me just fetch a card. This one. It's also an instant. Why would you play this card over Noxious Revival? Noxious Revival is the same card, but for free. So we'll put a Noxious Revival here. Noxious Revival. Why wouldn't you pay this card? Why would you pay a green mana if you can have this effect for free? So let's put this one to recursion. Recursion. Yeah, right. This one is going to that section. Now we have the 2 counter spells, which I totally agree with. They need to be in here. Where did I put the counter spells? Okay, Architect is doing some unkind things to me, I think. It is moving cards where I didn't want to move them. Okay, now I think we had a look over everything that the deck includes. So I still think Austere Command is too expensive. I think we will add more Miracle cards. I think we will be looking at some powerful equipments or maybe even aura cards. And we might even want to add more RAM-ish. We want 1 or 2 more counter spells in here. We want to look for better draw cards. And we also want to adjust land base a little bit. And also, why is he playing a Khan Signet? I mean, a Khan Signet is good, don't get me wrong, but I don't get why he's specifically playing a Khan Signet, because mass equipment removal, mass artifact removal is something that's relatively common in most metas. And mass equipment removal is already hitting him hard because, mass artifact removal is already hitting this deck hard since they are playing so many artifacts. So why would you cripple your own mana base if you're playing green and could just play something like 3 wishes? I mean, yes, just not good. We will add 3 wishes here, and we will also add nature's law. 3 wishes, 3 wizards. And nature's law. There it is. Yes, they both tutor up a forest and bring it into play untapped, which can also mana fix because you can obviously get the other stuff that you don't need, that you want. All right. Now let me just fetch my Derevi deck and look through it for any cards that I might have missed. What else could we need? We could add a Quetzal Pride Mage. We could add a Grafted Exoskeleton. We could add a Mystic Mirror. Oh yeah, we have another. Sorry if I'm rambling. I will tell you everything of what I found pretty soonish. And yes, I know that's a very exact thing that I just said. Okay. Do we have any 1 or 0 mana equipments that we want to fetch with Urza Saga? That's our enchantment land, Urza Sage. What do we have with CMC 0 or 1 here? We have Sensei. Yeah, okay, so this one is worth it. Okay, we also have a better double strike thing. We don't probably need sculpting skill. We will need Academy Ruins. I don't get how he's not playing Academy Ruins. He's already playing Senseis, which is fine. Cyclonic Rift should be played. The War Portal. Does he need a War Portal? Probably not ish. He's already playing Mana Drain. He should play Heroic Intervention. He should play Enclave of the Binders. Probably a Force of Will or Force of Negation. I guess rather a Force of Will in his case. A Pact of Negation should always be played in this deck. And maybe even a Flawless Maneuver. And also a Blackblade Reforged. Because This is stuff that can make his commander quite big, quite fast. Now, give me another second while I'm looking through my Bruna deck, because she's playing my enchantments. If I can find any enchantment that should be played in there. Um, oh yeah, another infect source is always great. Sorry for again not really being able to respond all that quickly, but if I would read through every card and explain every card that I'm currently looking at, I would be here for another hour. And I guess nobody wants that. We might also want to add Thrum here. Okay, yeah, it's fine. Alrighty, so let's go for cards that I would be looking to add here, and we might remove some of the cards later, because we won't have the place to fit them all. So first of all would be Thrum Senior Artificer. 2 mana, whenever you cast an aura, equipment, or vehicle spell, you draw a card. This draws him a card on most of his spells that he wants to cast early. He can also cast him on curve, turn 1 a mana dog, turn 2 Thrum, turn 3 his commander, which is fine. So let's put this one to add. Another thing that I would add is Corrupted. Corrupted Consciousness. So this one doubles. This card has 2 uses. The first use is you control enchanted creature, so you can just steal an opponent's commander if you like to, and or any other problematic creature. If your opponent has an Eldrazi Titan, just steal it. But that's not all. In addition to just stealing a creature, the creature also has Infect. And as you know, Infect kills with 10 poison counters, so basically just 10 instead of 21 commander damage to kill someone. It's removal, and it's basically giving your commander more than double strike if you just enchant your commander. So we want to add this one. We also want to add Black Blade. Now, if you play your commander, you probably have at least 3 lands. So Black Blade Reforged will give your commander at least +3/+3, which puts him at 7 damage, at 7 strength, and 7 strength allows for 3 hits. And it will probably allow for 2 hits, let's be honest. You probably have 7 lands at some point in the game. And then if you have 7 lands, it gives you +7/+7. Your commander is an 11/11, and just 2 hits or 1 hits if you have double strike or infect or whatever. So the next card that I would add would be Pact of Negation. A free counter spell is always great. It's just a free counter spell. That's it. Next off would be Heroic Intervention, because as I already said, problems with getting your equipment and stuff removed are quite dire. So Heroic Intervention gives all your permanents indestructibility. So this one will actually protect your equipments as well. Now, next thing that we would add would be Enclave of the Binder. Bonder's Enclave. It's in English. That's not it. Bonder's Enclave. There it is. For 3 mana and tap, you can draw a card. Activate this ability only if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, which is quite easy to achieve if your commander has power 4 or greater. Let me just put this to the side here. Sorry. Now, another card would be Cyclonic Rift. This one just clears the boards of your opponents. Always powerful and always good to have. Then we would also want to add the Academy Ruins. They are extra powerful in this deck. Academy Ruins. So Academy Ruins, for 1 and a blue, you can put target artifact card from your graveyard on top of your library. And since your commander allows you to cast these cards from the top of your library, you basically draw the card, which is quite nice. There also is the same thing for the Temple of Helios Generosity, but since we are only playing 3 auras, fun fact, 3 dreams could now find 3 auras if we didn't draw one of them before. What did I want to say? Yeah, that's why Temple of Heliod's Generosity is not that good. We also want to add we also want to add um, yeah, this one, Ash Barons. Because again, this one has basic land cycling for one, and this will allow you to shuffle your deck, which is quite important with this commander. And on that note, we'll also go for Prismatic Vista. Prismatic. Prismatic Vista. Prismatic Vista. There it is. Prismatic Vista, which also allows you to just fetch a basic land and yeah, put these to add. Next thing that we want to add is a Urza Saga. Urza Sage. Urza. There we are. We want to add Urza High Artificer for once, because in this case our equipments can tap for blue mana, which is neat. Why wouldn't we want all of our equipments to be mana rocks? But that was not what I wanted to look for, but I rather wanted to look for Urza's. Okay, Urza Saga's already in there. Perfect. So next off, we want a Mystic Remora. It feels like the meta would be good enough. Mystic Remora is a bit tricky, because the actual rule text is something that's not on the card. So the card says 1 blue, it's an enchantment, cumulative upkeep 1, so on your next turn you need to pay 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, and so on mana. Whenever a target opponent successfully casts a non-creature spell, you may draw a card. That player may pay 4 to counter this effect. Now, if we look this card up in Oracle, it actually has a little bit of different rule text. The actual rule text is, whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, you may draw a card unless the player pays 4. So what changed? Basically, it's not target opponent, but an opponent. So whenever any of your opponent casts a non-creature spell, that includes mana rocks, that includes green ramp spells, and so on and so on, you may draw a card unless they pay 4 mana, which they won't do. And also, they don't need to successfully cast a spell. So with the old rule text, it was debatable whether the spell would still count if it was countered. This one is out here, so yeah, this one is a great tool to draw stuff. And other than that, we also want the Grafted Exoskeleton. Grafted Exoskeleton. Since the Grafted Exoskeleton allows you to... just gives the creature infect. So it's an equipment for 4, you equip it for 2, and the creature has infect. Which is another source of infect, which of course is great for us. We also probably want to add Trailblazer Boots. Yeah, Trailblazer's Boots. Equipped creature has non-basic land walk. So it could also read equipped creatures unblockable, to be honest, in Commander. I guess even the mono players in his playgroup would have any non-basic lands if his land base is anything to judge. Alrighty. Now, let's first look for some miracle cards, since he's already doing so much top deck manipulation. Advanced search. Colors, commander, white, blue, and green, and we want to have the text. It's a miracle! Okay, so we probably don't want to just put 4 counters on our commander, even though it would make him an 8/8. Nah. Devastation Tide is a nice board wipe that returns all non-land permanents to their owner's hands. Also Terminus, and yeah, that's probably the 2 that we want to go with, Devastation Tide and Terminus. Devastation Tide. Terminus. Okay, now let's put him to the add list. And again, with stuff like Sensei's Divining Top, you can cast them at instant speed in your opponent's turns, which is also quite nice. Alrighty. So this would be my first draft on what to cut and what to add. Now, let's make a copy of this first draft. And let's just save this one here. And now let's make a copy of the deck, but whatever V3. Alrighty. We also wanted to add this here. Okay. Now let's get rid of all of the cut cards first, because we won't need them anymore. And let's sort our cards so we actually know what we are currently dealing with. So he was on 31 lands, so we'll probably end up on 31 lands again. Where's my pump equipment? Where's the Jeter? There's the Jeter. Finest Hour is pump. Rafik is pump. Rogue's Passage is a land. Ram is going for draw. Temporal Mastery is extra turn, which is also allowing us to finish better. That all is now stuff that allows us to finish the game. This one is removal. Am I somehow blind? Where's Beast Within? Where did my removal go? Ah, there it is. I see it. Counterspell. Nature's Lore is Mana Ramp. Noxious Revival is Recursion. Urza, High Lord Artificer is Mana Ramp. Trailblazer Bloods is Evasion. Three Wizards is Mana Ramp. Terminus is another board wipe. Heroic Intervention is Protection. We have another land. We have another board wipe. And we have another board wipe. Alright, we are now 13 cards up. And now let's look through this again. So all that glitters is just something that makes your creature huge, which is fine. Giant's Belt also just makes your creature huge, which is fine. If you have any other equipment, your commander's in 2-hit range. Black Blade also just makes your creature big, as does Colossal Hammer. Corrupted Conscious gives Infect. Finest Hour, an additional combat phase. Grafted. Okay, let's just put this one to extra combat phases. What else does give us an extra combat phase? This one is an extra combat phase, and I don't know why, but for some reason today I'm having stuff ends up where I don't want it to end up. Okay, so these are extra combat phases. Now we have Double Strike Infect, which will allow us to kill the opponents much faster. Double Strike Infect, and these Rafik, and the Colossus Hammer, and also yeah, that's it. Now. What we also have here is the Holy Avenger. And the Holy Avenger, equipped creature has double strike. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage, you may put an aura card from your hand to the battlefield attached to it. Hey ho, Baumstreichler. Now, this is fun. Where is your eye? Is something. Oh, yeah, wait, my sound alerts were off. Try again, it should work now. Sorry, they were still offline from the last Dungeons and Dragons session, where I'll always disable the sound alerts. Yeah, now it works, as you can see, or hear, more likely. So the issue with Holy Avenger is that we have the possibility to give we have the ability to give our creature protection from white. And in that case, the Holy Avenger won't work. So what we'll do is to cut the Holy Avenger. Cut. Cut one. Say this one is not in the deck. Category is not in the deck. And we will rather add, what's the card called? Fire Stick, Fire Shrieker. There it is, I think ish. Yeah, Fire Shrieker. Equipped creature has double strike. Equipped for 2. It doesn't give you the aura, but you only have 3 auras in your entire deck, so it's probably fine. It will be worse in some cases, but it will be better in other cases. So this one is also going to double strike. This one is also. Oh no, wait, extra combat phase, right. Now, Sterling Grove. It's an enchantment tutor. It puts an enchantment on the top of your deck. This is also top deck manipulation. Now we have the mantle, which is just making your creature big. There's the pump stuff. And we have the protection here. Protect self. I would probably add Elephant Grass here, but we are already with too many cards, so we'll leave it at that. So we have the tutor, which is also top deck manipulation. So we have our protection, we have our recursion, which we now output. We will also put a top deck manipulation now. We have our equipment tutor, which is the enlightened tutor, which is also top deck. So this one will also go to top deck manipulation. And we are currently running more equipment tutors than we are running equipment sizing. So we will probably cut open the armory, since, I mean, it's not bad, but also not good. Well, it is good, but we should have enough. We have so much top of the library manipulation. We should be fine. We should be totally fine. Okay. What else do we want to do here? Okay, so pump all that glitters. +1/+1 is fine. Belt is fine. Black Blade is fine. Grafted is fine. Mantle enters the battlefield, return any number. Okay, so this one is really recursion, so this one is great. We actually put this one to protection. We have Trailblazers, which is unblockable. And okay, so this one is removal, this one is removal. I think we'll cut Dovin's Veto since it's too expensive, and we will also cut Silence unless you're dealing with Storm decks, Silent, or yeah, unless you're dealing with Storm decks or combo decks. Heavily Silence should be fine to cut since we added some counter spells here. We might add more counter spells. So Swords is fine. Yeah, the rest here is fine. And we also wanted to cut some lands, and I will now look at that. I think we'll just cut a battle lance. Well, I guess you already know that I don't like the heavy non-basic land focus of most mana bases. I would not run this, but I guess I guess for most people, they don't really run into that much non-basic land hate. Um, I would be just dead if I played this 2 times, I guess. Um, there's a third battle land. Have I missed it? I have cut 1, 2 battle lands so far. Okay, maybe I'm just not getting to the right. Yeah, okay. Okay, so what else can we cut? I think we'll cut. Does he have anything that requires a double green? No. So Jami Java is just fixing mana for his opponents. Okay, so these are the sec lands. We will probably get rid of. We will probably just get rid of the sec land. Just a regular. Hey, have all mana again lands. A reflecting pool makes mana of a land that you already have, so this one is not actually mana fixing. Since the amount of times that you would need two of a single mana color is ridiculously low. I mean, you will need double blue for some spells, and you have one spell that needs double white, and that's it. And we'll probably just go up in basic land count. Let's also get rid of the City of Brass, since this one enables your opponents to combo on you, since City of Brass does not, contrary to other lands.
Welcome.
Oh, thanks for the follow, Mr. Cool789. So other lands have the pay one life, tap this land, and then you add one mana of any color to your mana pool. City of Brass has, when City of Brass becomes tapped, it deals one damage to you. And so if your opponent, for whatever reason, is playing a tap-untap combo, they can just tap and untap your City of Brass to kill you. I'm good. How are you, Mr. Cool? So, let's go on. We are down to 31 lands again. We have 3, 6, 9 lands with basic land types, and we have way more stuff that searches for basic land types. So can we cut anything else? I think we will just cut. Okay, so we're playing 3 duels, 3 shocks, and 3 basics, right? Are we playing 3 basics? We are playing 3 basics. Great. Think we'll cut a canopy lands, or at least 2 of the canopy lands. Or maybe the exalted orchard and 1 canopy land. Yeah, I think we might run out of basic lands otherwise. Which is always a bad thing to happen. You found a Rakdos commander you like. My friend thinks he's too high mana. Which Rakdos commander did you find? Okay, so how many cards are we at the moment? 105. Okay, so what else do we want to change? I think we might want to get rid of the Arbor Elf, since it's really conditional and we don't really have anything that allows our lands to tap for more than 1 mana, so we don't really need that one. Hmm. Then again, it can be mana fixing, and if you played him, you have a forest probably, so we will rather get rid of the Fintorn Elves. Okay, so what else can we get rid of? I think also Mirari's weight might just be too expensive for a mana doubler in this deck, and the speed he's trying to play. Okay, just so I have some thinking time. What did he say? Orcus, Prince of the Undead. Is this the one that has 2 abilities? Orcus, Prince of Undead. Let me just bring him up. Yes, this is the one with 2 abilities on enter the battlefield. I also thought about building him, but I think it's not a build around commander as most people are used to, but rather its value sitting in your command zone. So if you need it, you can play it from your command zone. And other than that, you would most likely play some kind of value Rakdos deck. Okay, what else do we want to remove? Not sure Commander's Plate is going to make it. It's just giving protection from black and red for 1 mana less than the Sword of Sinew and Steel. So this one is not good enough. Now, what else do we want to do? We have 100. We have two more cards to cut. Alrighty. What else do we want? I'm really thinking about dueling grounds out of and the sphere of safety. Because we added more board wipes, this should be fine. Hey, Tilo. So we will cut these two, and that should be it. So, okay, so, first the cuts.
Welcome.
Thanks for the follow. Oh, Manolia, again the bot. Okay, never mind. Do we still need a healer for the jump run, or can I respec for questing? We need a healer for the jump run if you want to level in dungeons again. Um, so what? Markul said something. Well, I'm thinking live link with him. Toxic deluge from the command zone is nuts or semi area. Yes, yes. He looks quite interesting. He looks like one of the better Rakdos commanders. Unfortunately, he does not have the mana ramp abilities of green, so you will be very reliant on mana rocks. So I think he's only viable if your meta doesn't play heavy mana, heavy artifact hate. So if you're facing heavy artifact hate, I think I wouldn't play the commander. But if you're not playing, if you're not facing heavy artifact hate, or you can play some huge red rituals, like the one that gives you 1 mana for each tapped land your opponents control. Let me just pull this one out. Red ritual tapped lands. Not desperate ritual here, mana guys here. Add 1 red mana to your mana pool for each tapped land your opponents control. This can easily get your mana quite huge. Or if you can give it flash somehow, you can also use Braids of Fire, which has cumulative upkeep, add red mana to your mana pool, which is quite a fun card. Okay, now let's continue writing these up. Auster command replaced by better board wipes. Bruna, you don't play enough auras. Kati, Bree, too slow. You want to attack with your commander. Dark steel plate. Other means of protection are more efficient. Fayborough Elder. You don't want to play mana dogs on CMC3. Etexian probe. It's okay, but not really doing anything other than reducing your deck to 99 and your starting life to 38. Ranger Captain of Ears. I guess it was in here as a counter spell. Replaced it with another counter spell. Replenish, not your bread and butter are artifacts in how you build this deck, not enchantments. 3 dreams, you only run 2 auras. Time Twister, Windfall. Equipments are expensive. Your hand will probably be bigger than your opponents, and you will give them a free refresh. Worldly Tutor. You don't want creatures on top. There are no vitally important creatures for you to fetch. Now, what else did we cut? We also cut battle lands. Most lands needed to go for other lands. Don't need that much mana fixing. Special note for Jami Yava. Only have one card that requires more than one green mana, so this card is probably mana fixing for your opponents. Okay, so let me just get up the chat. You do have a cover that you can bounce. Oh yeah, Cabal cover obviously will make the Rakdos strategy a lot better. If you have a Jafkmod Tomb of Urbok Tomb of Jafkmod, obviously. Okay. So what else did we cut? Commanders was played. Darksteel plate. Commanders only protects from 2 colors. What else did we cut? Dovin's Veto. Dueling Grounds and what did we cut here? Silence, Dueling Grounds, Sphere of Safety. Probably too slow. Fact at Elephant's Grass. Also added more board wipes to help you out. Fyndhorn Elves replaced by a better mana dog, Holy Avenger, replaced by another double strike card, ever since Pilgrim. And this one is replaced by, what was the card's name? What was the card's name? Fire Shrieker. White, which would make Holy Avenger fall off. So what else did we cut? Open the Armory, Mirari's Wake. Open the Armory. Already running enough tutors. What else did we cut? I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. Now, on what did we add? What did we add? Okay, so first of all, we added Academy Ruins. Ruins, GI, top deck. We also added Noxious Revival, Reclaim. We also added Bonder's Enclave. Bonder's Enclave. Redraw on a land. We also added Prismatic Vista. And also added the Ash Barons. More shuffle for better top deck. Plus some basic lands since you are running low of them. Now, what else did we add? Heroic Intervention. Another source of protecting your permanents. Maybe let's make some marks here. What else did we add? We also added Trailblazer Boots. We also added uh, what else did we add? What else did we add? Oh yeah, now we get Cyclonic Rift, better board wipe, because it goes around indestructible and it's just one-sided. We also added Terminus, Devastation Tide, and also Temporal Mastery. With all the top deck manipulation going on, Miracle should be easy to pull off. Extra Time Walk, board wipe, whatever you need gets around indestructible. Now, what else did we add? Of the game faster, I added some Rafik, another double strike enabler, plus Exalted. Your commander hits for at least 10. Next up, we have Fire Shrieker. I already talked about that one. Grafted Exoskeleton and Corrupted Conscience. In fact, 10 is enough. Corrupted can also double as removal. Now, next off, we have the Black Blade Reforged. Just big. Next off, we have the Belt of Giant Strengths and Colossus Hammer. Since you can get around the equip cost, this will allow you to 1-2 hit. Now, what else did we add? Nature's Lore plus Wild plus 3 Wizards. No, this will allow for better ramp than Signet. Okay. So these are all not the critical cards. Finest Hour and Temporal Mastery for extra combats. Turns. What else did I add? Added Pact of Negation for additional protection, counter spelling. And what else did I add here? Consider Force of Negation, Force of Will if you need more. And last but not least, also added Mystic Remora and Thrum for better draw. Alright, that's the deck. Now that should get the first deck done. Charlie X. Is this really the pilot? Yes. Deck is done. If you want to see the tuning on video, twitch.tv/shadowdrop. You can see the tuning process and my sounds there. If you have any further questions, feel free to ping me. Otherwise, you can always close the workshop by typing close. All right, that's it with this deck. Now, if you have any questions, chat, feel free to ask them. Otherwise, Mr. Cool, now let's look at your card again. You have a cover that you can bounce between a few decks, and on the high end, I won't have to pay more than 10 for X to wipe a board on average. Yes, that's actually true. If you play him as a board wipe in the command zone, you can play him for 10, but you also lose a lot of life, which usually is a resource that you don't want to lose too much. So I guessed when I was planning, I would rather usually be doing him for the returning of cards. Because yeah, I mean he's interesting. I can't deny that. He's not super powerful, but he seems interesting enough. And as I said, I planned on building him, but somehow in Rakdos colors, I always feel like I'm missing out something. I mean, my favorite Rakdos commander is probably the guy whose name I just forgot. Dungeon Warden. This one. So you can also pay him for X. Usually I play him for X as one, and he enters the battlefield with X+1/+1 counters on him. And for 2, you can put a bottom card of your library onto your graveyard. If it's a creature card with power less or equal to Grenzo's power, put it onto the battlefield. And basically, you play him as a slot machine. So ramp, 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 play him for 3, and then just look whatever you get from the bottom of your deck. Obviously, you have some cards that allow you to stack the bottom of your deck, and the most fun, the